Hey, and welcome to the video, and if you like the video, hit the like button. If you want to comment, please do. If you want to share it, then please share to anybody you feel you want to share it with. And last but not least, if you want to subscribe, then please do. It allows us to bring you even more great content. With that being said, let's get on with the video. Hi, and welcome to this third lesson in the series of configuring a Juniper MX as an LNS/BRAS. Now, what I've done to speed up the video is I've already put in the commands because there's only 4 of them. So we'll do a show configuration so you can see the commands, and we'll explain each command and what it's doing. So let's do a show configuration and do it as a display set. So here we have our configuration, and as you can see here, these are the 4 lines we're interested in. Okay, so the first line is the idle timeout. So that's the first command, and it's set access group profile LTP group, which is just a name again, PPP idle timeout 200. So what we're actually doing here, as I've just stated, is creating an access group profile called LTP group. And the first parameter we're configuring is the PPP idle timeout with a value of 200. So what exactly is the idle timeout with regards to PPP? So an idle timeout allows us to control what happens when a subscriber has an established PPP session but isn't actually passing traffic. So in simple terms, we're asking, is this subscriber still using their connection? If the session remains idle for the configured period, Junos can terminate that inactive session. So this can actually be useful in subscriber environments. Why? Because an established session consumes resources on your LNS. So if a subscriber no longer actually is using the connection, we may not want that session consuming resources indefinitely. So the important concept to remember is idle timeout is about inactivity. We'll contrast that with keepalive shortly, because although they may sound similar, they're actually solving 2 different problems. So the next command that we've got here is set access group profile L2TP group PPP. Now we've got the PPP options and we're choosing PAP. So in very simple terms, PAP is one of the authentication mechanisms available to PPP. So PAP allows a PPP subscriber to present a username and password as part of the authentication process. So conceptually, again, we have PPP subscriber, username plus password, PAP authentication, subscriber credentials are validated. So in a broadband environment, those credentials will commonly be processed through the AAA infrastructure, potentially involving a radius server, although in our case, it is involving a radius server. There's also an important security point to understand here with regards to PAP. PAP itself is a relatively simple authentication protocol and doesn't actually use a challenge response mechanism like CHAP. Now I'm only using PAP in this lab as an example. Put in there CHAP as well. So put in PAP and CHAP in yours. So we shouldn't really be describing PAP itself as providing strong protection for the subscriber's password across the link. For this environment, as I've said though, PAP is the authentication mechanism we're going to use for PPP. And later, when we establish a real subscriber session, we'll be able to see this authentication process as part of the complete connection. So now we move on to the third command, which is set access group profile L2TP group PPP options MTU 1492. So why do we need to set an MTU of 1492? Well, if you're new to MTU, think of it as defining the maximum size of an IP packet that can be carried across this part of the connection without exceeding the configured MTU. And 1492 is actually a number that you'll see very frequently in these environments. And the reason why is because a standard Ethernet MTU is commonly 1500 bytes. But PPPoE introduces additional overhead, and the PPPoE and PPP headers consume 8 bytes. So 1500 minus 8 gives us 1492. And that's why 1492 is such a familiar number when working with PPPoE broadband services. An MTU is something you definitely want to revise on and understand when troubleshooting subscriber networks. An MTU problem doesn't always, believe me, result in the connection completely failing. Sometimes the subscriber connects successfully, pings may work, small packets may work, but certain websites, applications or large packets behave strangely. That can make MTU problems particularly frustrating to diagnose. So when working with PPPoE subscriber services, always keep the MTU in the back of your mind. The fourth command is set access group profile L2TP group PPP keepalive 30. Why do we want to configure the keepalives? Well, the easiest way to understand the purpose of a keepalive is to imagine the LNS periodically asking, are you still there? So, once the PPP subscriber session has been established, we need a way of detecting situations where the remote side disappears unexpectedly. We've actually already gone through this in our dynamic profile, so we don't have to go through it again, but just understand the difference between the idle timeout versus the keepalive. Okay, they're not the same thing. A simple way to remember the difference is idle timeout asks, are you actually using the session? Whereas the keepalive is concerned with, are you still there? Okay, so idle timeout equals inactivity, keepalive equals session peer liveness. So that actually is a very, very quick video for the L2TP group profile. And you're going to need that for the next lesson, as you're going to discover. So I hope you enjoyed this video. It's a very quick one, and the next one will probably be a quick one as well, as we're splitting it up into little sections. So please stay ready for the next video, and if you like this one, subscribe.